What's up? All right, let me just go ahead and wait for things to wake up here. Let's make sure everything's live. YouTube, where are you? YouTube's coming alive. YouTube is alive. What's up, YouTube? And Rockman is alive too. We're gonna call it a tie. I think calling it a tie is fair here. So we're gonna go with tie. Uh, what's up, everybody? Happy Sunday. Good afternoon. Good evening. Happy holiday weekend, right? It's, here in the United States, we had the Thanksgiving holiday or thanks-taking, depending on how you want to look at it. It's one of those things. It's like I said, I made a patrons video and I just kind of said, look, the history of the holiday is absolutely ridiculous and terrible, but the whole notion of spending time with loved ones and reflecting on things you're thankful for, that in and of itself, of course, is a good thing. But the history of the holiday is absolutely horrible. I mean, it's completely terrible. And the stories you were taught as a kid are completely inaccurate and not what happened at all, and blah blah blah. Anyway, but I had a nice weekend with friends. I got to do some fun stuff actually. But welcome to Get Your News On with Ron. This is the headline show of the week, and gonna be a little bit of a different show today. Um, where we're kind of mainly gonna be focused on one thing. And that one thing is what happened with Amazon 2 days ago, as of the recording of this, which is would have been Black Friday. Now, Black Friday is a quote holiday in the United States where people prove that they're willing to trample each other to death to save $25 on a television set. Ironically enough, that television set was probably $25 cheaper a few months ago. That's really what they do on Black Friday, folks, in case you didn't know this. What they do is a couple weeks before Black Friday, they raise the list price on something. So, like, let's say a TV was, we'll keep the number simple. A TV was $20. Obviously, a TV is a lot more than that, but, to keep it simple, TV's going for $20. A little bit before Black Friday, like a month or something, all of a sudden they raise the price to $25. They're like, up, TV's $25. And then come Black Friday, they have the list price listed as 25. They have it slash and they say, this TV's going for $20. What a freaking deal. And people trample each other to death for such an opportunity. That's what happens in the United States. What a racket. What a racket. So that's Black Friday. And Black Friday, I would say, is one of the greatest arguments for de-evolution out there. If you think we're de-evolving as a species, Black Friday is good anecdotal evidence to make such a case, I think. But there was a huge strike over at Amazon, and it spanned 30 different countries. So we're going to be talking about that. There was worker strikes everywhere from New York to Missouri to the UK to Ireland. I mean, it was very extensive. We're going to be talking about it in greater detail for most of the show today. First, I'm going to do a real quick story that is unfortunately not good news, but it pertains to Italy, which is a place that I hold very dearly. All of my family is okay, by the way. You may have heard about this already, but over in Ischia, which is a very, very beautiful island just south of Naples, there was a landslide. And it was bad. So far, we know that it has killed at least one person. There was one casualty, but other people are missing, and a state of emergency has been declared. Here is a headline from Al Jazeera. Okay, so Italy rescuers search for a dozen missing after deadly landslide. Complex rescue effort hampered by rain and high winds. So they're still dealing with some elements out there, which also delayed ferries bringing reinforcements from the mainland. Yeah, keep in mind, this is like a tiny island. Like, this is like, it's mostly a very popular vacation spot because it's freaking beautiful. If you've watched the show My Brilliant Friend on HBO, they go on vacation there at some point, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, great show too, by the way. But so Italian rescuers are searching for a dozen missing people on the southern island of Ischia after a massive landslide killed at least one person. A wave of mud and debris swept through the small town of Casamicciola Terme, early Saturday evening, engulfing at least one house and sweeping cars down to the sea. Rescuers recovered the body of a 31-year-old woman. It's terrible, according to Italian news agency AGI. And they're saying at least 13 people have been injured and people are missing. So here's a photo of exactly where Ischia is. And for those of you listening to the podcast later, you can't see this, but basically it is a tiny island that is not on the mainland of Italy. And it is kind of just south of Naples, southwest, it looks like. So about a dozen people were still unaccounted for early Sunday, which is basically now. I mean, there's the time zone difference, but there's still some people missing as of the recording of this. Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni tweeted her sympathy to those affected. That's good. That's always good when you see your newly elected leaders doing their part for thoughts and prayers, saying she called an extraordinary cabinet meeting on Sunday to discuss the disaster. We are afraid that there might be other victims, but so far the current figure is one dead, said Luca Cari, a spokesman for the fire service. The rescue effort was hampered by rain and high winds, which also delayed ferries bringing reinforcements to the mainland. So this is still unfolding. Obviously, they're still dealing with some elements, but shout out to Italy. This sucks. And I hope that they find everybody, I mean, what else can you say? I hope they find everybody and there are no other casualties. It sucks that there was one and hopefully there are no more. What else can you really say about that? So that's going on. Wanted to mention that. So let's go over to Amazon. And the big question that I have looming. Well, let's get into it first. Okay, so here's what happened. As of the recording of this 2 days ago, Black Friday. Here's what happened over at Amazon. Okay, that's nice. Amazon warehouse workers stage Black Friday strikes and protests around the world. This is from The Guardian. Amazon warehouse workers in the UK and 40 other countries are to strike and stage protests timed to coincide with the Black Friday sales. Employees in dozens of countries, from Japan to Australia to India, the US, and across Europe, are demanding better wages and conditions in a campaign called Make Amazon Pay. In the UK, hundreds of members of the GMB union are staging strikes or protests at a number of Amazon warehouses, including a protest outside its fulfillment center in Coventry. So they're talking about how profits are through the roof and workers are not sharing in this. Now, this is something I found interesting. In Dublin, Extinction Rebellion has organized a protest outside Amazon's offices from 1 p.m. Now, here's something a lot of people tend to forget. Amazon is a terrible steward to the earth. They get an F rating from all environmental agencies because they are basically pillaging our frickin' planet. They are completely irresponsible environmentally in every way, shape, and form, and they are absolutely terrible when it comes to climate change. And all the big companies are like this. Walmart, same way. They're all like this. So this is what's happening. There were protests on Friday by dozens and dozens of people. Or excuse me, dozens and dozens of people. Wow, that came across wrong. Dozens of countries. They were projecting over 40. Now that they've confirmed at least over 30. Now, here's something. The corporate media did not do a lot for this. There was not a lot of talk of this within the corporate media, but there was a little bit. And here's something from CBS News here in the United States. Here was their coverage of it. Amazon workers in 30 other countries protest on Black Friday. So let's see here. Amazon workers and activists in 30 countries mark the traditional start of the holiday shopping season. Such a nice way to put what it is. With a series of walkouts and protests to demand better pay and working conditions. In Manhattan, activist labor unions and Amazon workers marched outside company founders Jeff Bezos' penthouse. Outside St. Louis. I called him Joe. Did you hear that? It's been a holiday weekend, folks. And I went on a super long hike yesterday in the Mojave Desert. So maybe I'm a little dehydrated on this Sunday morning. I appreciate your patience. Outside of St. Louis, a few dozen workers walked out of the massive St. Louis facility on Friday afternoon. It's the second wildcat strike. That's awesome. So Labor actions are also planned at Whole Foods stores, which of course Amazon owns. And those locations are Bessemer, Alabama, Columbia, Maryland, Detroit, Michigan, Durham, North Carolina, Garner, North Carolina, Joliet, Illinois, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Portland, Oregon, and Washington, D.C. In Germany, workers demonstrated at 9 out of 20 warehouses. In Coventry, England, workers rallied in the evening outside an Amazon facility saying, "We are not robots." In Buenos Aires, Argentina, some activists rallied in front of the National Congress building holding signs that read, "Make Amazon pay." Here's the best part. Amazon did not respond to a request for comment on the action. And this is a global protest, as even CBS News is pointing out. Among the countries where Amazon is facing strikes and protests, Argentina, Australia, Austria, Bangladesh, Belgium, Brazil, Cambodia, Canada, Czech Republic, France, Germany, Hungary, India, Japan, Netherlands, Poland, Slovak, South of Africa, Turkey, and the UK. Now, I don't know. Maybe I'm nitpicking here, but it's interesting to me that CBS in this paragraph did not include the United States. Now, obviously, it goes without saying the United States is part of this because the United States, they just reference protests going on in the United States. They reference stuff that's happening in Missouri and New York. So maybe they just thought, well, we don't need to include the U.S. because people already know that's part of it. But still, why wouldn't you? If you're just going to do a list of countries, why wouldn't you just include the U.S.? And I think it's either because, A, they're trying to downplay international working class solidarity movements, A, or B, they just have that typical nationalistic United States attitude that, like, well, whenever we talk about countries, we're just referring to all those other ones. They're just other countries. We are the country. We're the USA, baby. Which is incredibly frustrating. That's putting it gently. And by the way, other countries' medias just aren't like that the way we are. Not to the extent the United States is. The way the United States has this, like, we're on top of the world and the world revolves around us. So we don't even need to mention ourselves in the list of countries. That is uniquely American. It really is. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. Maybe I'm nitpicking. Maybe I'm being a little nitpicky. But I couldn't help but notice that. I was like, why don't they include the United States in their country list? That doesn't make any freaking sense. But anyway, so that was there. And I want to go here now. So I want to show you guys, because after this happened, which just happened 2 days ago, well, now the big question is, well, what exactly did it do? So let's start here first. I want to share this video. This is from Progressive International over on Twitter. But I want to go ahead and share this with y'all. Let me just close out of a couple things here. Okay, so this is the Make Amazon Pay video. Jesus Christ, Twitter.
Now, Amazon could be in for a rough Black Friday weekend as workers at the online retail giant threaten strikes during the year's busiest shopping period.
Might be Black Friday. Thousands of Amazon workers, more than a dozen countries now on strike as part of the Make Amazon Pay campaign.
Un mouvement de grève générale dont on parle beaucoup sur Internet.
For Amazon, it will mark a worldwide strike by its employees.
Amazon está amenazada, como decimos, por esas huelgas.
The protest covers every major market for the company, including the United States, Australia, and New Zealand, India, and Bangladesh.
Now, it's interesting that other media outlets across the world covered this beforehand, but the United States, you really didn't see much in the corporate media until, I mean, the only piece I could find literally was that piece by CBS. I'm not saying that's the only one that's out there, but, you know, you really didn't see anything in the corporate media in the United States until it was just happening. So that's interesting. That is interesting. And why is that? Well, it's because the last thing they want to cover is worldwide working class movements, because that threatens their advertisers, that threatens their for-profit business model, that threatens their shareholders. All right. So anyway, well, let's watch a little more of this.
South Asia, major European countries like the United Kingdom, France, Belgium, and Spain, South Africa, also Brazil and Argentina.
And this
A
is footage
strike
just from all over the
worldwide,
world.
according to Make Amazon Pay, a coalition of workers and activists. The group is demanding that the company increase wages, pay more taxes, and reduce the company's carbon footprint.
I like that there's also a demand to do better when it comes to climate change, because they have the resources to do better. Amazon certainly has the resources to do way better. They got the money, and they're still a complete cancer on the earth. They're a complete plague on the earth as far as how that company operates. So this happened. And now you're kind of wondering, okay, well, what did it do? Because here's the deal. You kind of wonder, could something like this? Now, of course, even though there were protests and strikes all across the world, it's not like Amazon as an entire company went on strike. We'd be hearing about that everywhere. If Amazon in its entirety was able to go on strike, and I'm not saying that the strike fell short or anything like that. You got to start somewhere. But if Amazon was completely as a whole shut down, and on something like Black Friday, people go to Amazon.com and they see a black screen and nothing else. They see a blacked out freaking website. You can be damn sure things are going to change really freaking quick. So here's something I wanted to share. This is just basically the big hashtag here is make Amazon pay. And so I just kind of searched that hashtag as of the recording of this right now, which it is now Sunday morning, 2 days after Black Friday. And so here's some of the stuff that comes up first. Now, this is, of course, Twitter's algorithm. Amazon workers walked off the job on the biggest shopping day of the year, demanding better working conditions. Warehouse workers are leaving their posts. This is from Rolling Stone. So Rolling Stone covered this. Let's see what else here. So here's just different countries covering it. All over the world, there are tweets from news outlets about Amazon and people going on strike on Black Friday. Amazon workers around the world protested against the company. And here, over in Berlin, they projected, on the Amazon Tower in Berlin, they projected Make Amazon Pay onto the building. So they did that a couple days ago as well. This Black Friday, back Amazon workers, make Amazon pay. And I've heard what's going on at Amazon being described as tech feudalism, which is freaky accurate. That's exactly what it is. It is tech feudalism, and people are calling it out for what it is. And so you have to ask yourself the question that's lingering here. Could this lead to something like a general strike? We're seeing solidarity. I mean, keep in mind, neoliberalism is a worldwide infection. It's not just unique to the United States. Now, the United States has it turned up to 11, but it's not exclusive to the U.S. It's all around the world. And places like Amazon are able to be a predator all around the world. The United States, the capitalism of the United States is infecting the rest of the world. It is literally just infecting the rest of the world. And that's why, like when you look at like social democratic models, you know, they are infinitely better than what we have here in the United States, right? Like there's no disputing that they're better. Like the Nordic countries and places like that, they offer a quality of life that is head and shoulders to the United States. So yes, it is a better model, but the fact that they kind of still let capitalism in, that's what's holding them back. All of the flaws of those models can be traced back to letting capitalism in, because they're like, well, yeah, we have a big social safety net. We have social programs. We're not completely dictated by profit, but we let the banks in. We let the oil companies in. We kind of play nice with them. Not as much as the United States, but we play nice a little bit. Yeah, and that's why what flaws you do have, that's why you got them. And that's why, like, I wouldn't say, like, I'm a social democrat. in the sense that it's like, well, I believe in kind of a hybrid socialist capitalist model. No, it doesn't work that way. That's not how it frickin' works. I mean, that's like saying, well, I don't want the United States is like a house completely infested with termites on every frickin' floor. And it's like, well, I prefer this model where termites are just in the basement. No, you should just get rid of the frickin' termites. The termites in this metaphor is capitalism. So the solution is not a mixed model, social. No, the solution is no capitalism. No capitalism. And by the way, it can easily be done. It can easily be done. You just have a society that is based on meeting human needs and being stewards of the earth. You would still have exchanges for goods and services in such a society. That's not unique to capitalism. Never has been. You would still have, you would still have people creating and people being entrepreneurial. You would still have all that in a market socialist model. It's just resources would be collectively owned and workers would control the means of production. That's the main difference. So what you wouldn't have is you wouldn't have big oil dictating things. You wouldn't have the big banks dictating things. That stuff wouldn't fly, nor should it. Why? Because it's destroying the frickin' planet. It's destroying the planet. We can't allow this system to continue. And the system that's the big plague is capitalism itself. It's not, don't insert your little flowery adjectives. It's not capitalism. It's crony capitalism. It's capitalism. It does the same thing every time it has ever been tried throughout human history. Every single frickin' time. If capitalism was a car, it would break down every 2,000 miles. So eventually you just have to come to the realization that no, this system is a fucking disease and we can't do it anymore if we want to have a planet. So could something like this lead to a general strike? The optimist in me says yes. The pessimist in me says it's still not enough. And the realist in me kind of says, well, actually, I guess the realist says it's still not enough. The pessimist says, I guess it doesn't matter. Because, this was a worldwide labor movement and it received very little press attention. And Black Friday just kind of came and went. And ask regular people in your life, like, hey, were you affected by the Amazon thing on Black Friday? Chances are they're going to say no. And it's because, well, there were strikes and protests and that probably slowed things down. It didn't quite end business as usual. And by the way, I'm not saying this to criticize the striking workers. I stand with those striking workers. I salute them for their efforts. I think it's freaking awesome. I'm behind them 110%. It just needs to be, unfortunately, a mass movement. And we're realizing how difficult that frickin' is. 30 countries and counting standing up against Amazon, and it's still not enough to really disrupt business as usual. And all of these wildcat strikes, they're huge, they're good, they're great steps, they're important. The union efforts are important. I am 110% behind those things. But I think we also have to accept the reality that for true status quo shifting change, there needs to be a massive just shutdown of business as usual. And that ain't going to be easy. I don't call for a general strike because I think it's going to be easy. I call for a general strike because I don't know what other choice we have. I do not know what other choice we have. We don't have. I mean, what other choice do we have? Just vote. Yeah. Good luck with that. I mean, that's the only way, because the only tool we have to fight back at the end of the day is our labor. It's our labor. That's it. That's it. You want a solution by force? Good luck with that. The United States has the most powerful military in the world and a militarized police force that is just waiting to crack heads of whoever they're told to crack heads of. Good luck with that. Our labor is our biggest tool to fight back. And if we really extensively shut it down, if people couldn't go to Amazon.com for a couple days, just a couple days, shit would change real quick. Because let's be honest, the people who really, really dictate things around here, Jeff Bezos and his ilk, the billionaires in this place who are running this country, they're the ones really calling the shots. And if Jeff Bezos was like, hey, we got to fix this, things would change. People could make societal demands. You shut Amazon down for a couple of days, you can make societal demands. You really could. But you really just got to shut it down. And that's not easy. That's not easy because a lot of people, they're 1 and 2 paychecks away from just going under. They're just trying to survive. And they're like, I got to try to survive because I have kids, because I have whatever. And I get it. I would never shame anybody who is too scared to strike or not able to strike. I would never shame that person. I would shame the society, the system that pushes them into that point. That's the thing to be angry at. Don't be angry at the people. Be angry at the frickin' system. Be angry at the system that makes it next to impossible for people to strike, because that's what we have in the United States. But again, I mean, if we don't figure out a way to make it happen, I don't see anything stopping this place from just descending into pure theocratic neo-feudalism, which you could argue we're already there. I mean, you could argue we're already a neo-feudal society, and I think that's accurate. I think we are already there, but it can still get a lot worse. It can still get way worse to where, I mean, if this merger with Kroger and Albertsons goes through, we're going to see an increase in food insecure people. That's going to happen. And we're going to see an increase in very, very desperate people who are just going to kind of, so I think that wages will continue to be suppressed unless there is a true federal minimum wage law, which we're not going to get. So you're going to continue to see people just being exploited more and more because they're more and more desperate. When it gets to the point where like they're not able to get food in their stomach, like, yeah, they're gonna be desperate. They're gonna take that job at Walmart or whatever for like $9 an hour because they have no frickin' choice, and because the economy has just been held out of existence because you've allowed just mass homogenization. So, yeah. So I think it's interesting that this happened. It received very little media coverage. Meanwhile, it was a worldwide labor effort, which was huge. But you're also seeing like, man, even with a worldwide labor effort, we are still up against so much. Jeff Bezos still made massive amounts of money over the past 2 days, despite a worldwide labor effort, about 40 countries participating, walking off, demanding better conditions. And this guy's still making money. It really shows you what you're up against. I mean, it really does. And it's kind of overwhelming. It is kind of overwhelming. Wow. So I wanted to focus most of today's episode on that. I really did. I thought that most of today's episode should be focused on that. To learn more, go to makeamazonpay.com. And a few other calls to action. Go to bidenpromise.us and demand action on the antitrust bills. Folks, the White House is pressuring Chuck Schumer to force a vote. So the campaign is working. Could just be fluff. They could wait out the clock. That's what they're going to try to do. But the campaign is working, and we can't win without your help. So please go to bidenpromise.us, sign that petition, demand votes on the antitrust bills. These antitrust bills start breaking up stuff like Amazon. You want to break up Amazon? This is how we do it. If we get some antitrust legislation that starts breaking Amazon up, if we start, continue to support these worldwide labor movements the best we freaking can. If we engage in mutual aid, extensive mutual aid throughout the country, which, hey, you can only start in your own community. And somebody mentioned the IWW. You know, I do think the case should be made that we should all, like, everybody should just join the Wobblies. That if everybody just joined the Wobblies, that would go so far. And I do believe that to be true. Now, unfortunately, I don't really qualify as a there is a way that as like a self-employed person, I can join the Wobblies, but I don't understand I don't understand all the details. Like there's certain details around self-employed people and also like people in the creative field around like joining the Wobblies and what exactly it does. But yeah, it's kind of a little more complicated for people like me to actually be a member of the Wobblies as just a self-employed person. But I'm a big fan, though. I wear my Wobblies hat. That was a gift to me, an anonymous gift, by the way. Whoever sent me that Wobblies hat, please come forward. The past couple times I played Boston, I meant to ask who gave it to me and to say thank you because I know it came from Boston. But yeah, there was somebody sent me a wobbly hymn book that looks like it was from like back in the day. I don't know exactly how old it was, but it was a wobbly hymn book. It's really freaking cool. I don't know who it was. All I know is that it came from Massachusetts. There was no return address. There was no name. There was no like, hey man, it was an anonymous gift. So I don't know who it came from. And I've been wondering for a couple years now, if you are that person in Massachusetts, let me know. I meant to ask from stage last time I was in Boston. I forgot to ask. I meant to ask last time we performed in Boston. I forgot to do so. So please, if you're that person, let me know. I found out who gave me the shade cloth. I found that out. I think was it on Status Quo where I found out? I think it was on Status Quo. But I was asking about, like I mentioned the shade cloth. And Venetia David came forward. She was like, I sent you the shade cloth. I got an anonymous shade cloth. It was from Venetia David out in the UK, which, by the way, there's a bunch of Amazon protests out in the UK. Wendy says, was it Santa? Maybe it was. Maybe it was working class Santa. Anyway, guys, tour dates. I got them. January 28th. You know, here is something that involves no Amazon whatsoever and still makes a great holiday gift. January 28th in Tucson, Arizona, I have a stand-up show and the screening of my short film Loner. You can go to romplacone.com and at the checkout, use the promo code Lucy. That's just Lucy. Use the promo code Lucy at checkout for discounted tickets. That's an early bird / holiday special. It's not going to go on forever, so get your tickets now. Get your tickets now before that special ends. romplacone.com. Makes a great holiday gift. It's a Saturday night, so even if you're not in Tucson, are you near Tucson? Make the weekend trip, huh? Also, February 10th, first show of 3 at a 3-show residency at the Glendale Room in Los Angeles. I'm workshopping my 2023 hour that I'm hoping to take to Edinburgh. Starts February 10th in Los Angeles. The other 2 Los Angeles dates on that are April 14th and May 12th. You can get tickets now at romplacone.com. Those are Friday night shows. Also, February 17th, 18th, I'll be in San Diego, California. Details and tickets for all those shows, romplacone.com. Also, if you want to support this show on the sustainability end, patreon.com/romplacone. Folks, the holidays are coming up. One of my favorite things to do around the holidays, I make a lot of theme songs for people. I'll be putting out a call for theme songs very soon for all current patrons. If you want a theme song for you or a loved one, it makes a fantastic holiday gift and a very personal holiday gift. This is the season where I do pretty much all of them. So sign up now at patreon.com/romplacone. What is the cost for that? It's a give what you can level. So whatever level you're comfortable giving, whatever level you can afford to give, that's all it costs. Sometimes people give me like a little bonus for the theme song. If you're able to do that and you want to do that, that's great. You don't have to do that. Signing up for Patreon is all it takes. And it's at whatever level you're comfortable giving. So you can get an awesome gift for a loved one for a give what you can level over at patreon.com/romplacone. And not only are you getting a really cool gift, but you're also supporting this show. That's a pretty cool double whammy, is it not? I'd say so. Cool. Awesome. So, folks, the patron stream is going to start right after this. So please hang out. Don't go anywhere. We're going to pop right back in with the patron stream. where we just kind of chat it up, and it's a casual chat. So don't go anywhere. And in the meantime, you know the drill. Lucy, she says meow, and I say peace, love, and a general strike.